What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Plays here, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the New York Knicks mystery player, along with another secret player who the Knicks have signed to a contract. The Knicks have so many players that they have the rights to and have signed to contracts, but these transactions are never reported to the public. The reason for this is probably because they are overshadowed by the big name players like RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, and most of these players very well could be busts. I'm aware that most of these players will be busts, but the two I will be talking about in this video have serious potential to make an impact on the Knicks. Maybe not this season, but in the seasons to come. However, last year, one player who made his name during the Summer League after going undrafted was the one and only Alonzo Trier. Alonzo Trier had an outstanding rookie year for the Knicks and has an extremely bright future ahead of him, hopefully with the Knicks. Alonzo Trier had a pretty good season at Arizona, averaging 18 points in his final season, but went undrafted after people believed he was too selfish and only averaged 1 to 2 assists per game while playing with Lauri Markkanen and DeAndre Ayton. He also was not athletic enough, and some people questioned his character after a PED scandal. These clearly have not held true, and every single one of these have either been proven incorrect or have not affected his game in any way whatsoever. You guys are probably wondering why I'm going so deep into Alonzo Trier, and that is because I see a whole lot of similarities between him and Chris Wilkes, who is one of the Knicks' undrafted free agents. Chris Wilkes is a 6'8" small forward / shooting guard who has a 7-foot wingspan and is extremely athletic. His shot is incredibly smooth and has potential to be a great shooter, but he goes on streaks where he is extremely hot and other streaks where he is extremely cold, showing he lacks consistency like most young players. Wilkes is a monster in transition, and he is always ready to run and try and get an easy shot for himself or a teammate, which is basically what David Fizdale kind of correlates his offense around. Maybe not correlates his offense around, but Fizdale's really high on fast break points. His coach at UCLA said that the best attribute about him was his ability to move without the ball and cut to the basket at an elite level. Wilkes was slated to be a mid-second round pick, and people in his party came out and said that they told teams not to draft him in the pick 48 to 60 range because he wanted to pick where he played, and also he didn't want to be signed to a two-way contract. Wilkes came out of high school as a top 20 player in the nation, and there were very high hopes for him coming into UCLA. He came into UCLA and made an impact immediately in his first year, averaging 13.4 points per game, but decided to stay for his second year. In the second season, Wilkes had some pretty huge bright spots as he made the All-Pac-12 second team and led the Bruins in scoring. However, he was also the #1 option for this UCLA Bruins team, but only scored 17.4 points on a terrible 33.7% from three-point range and 43.3% from the field. This was completely underwhelming for a guy who took pride in his three-point shot, but on top of this, many people question Wilkes' ability to work hard on defense and on his game in general. Many UCLA fans were upset with the lack of intensity Wilkes brought on the defensive side of the ball because most of the time he really wasn't there, and at times when he seemed engaged, he was incredible. These remind me of the same exact critiques Kevin Knox got coming out of college, and now this man can't even take a 2-week break from working on his game. I know the Knicks organization and coaching staff has been terrible for a long time, but this past year they were amazing at developing their talent and giving them every opportunity to succeed. There's a clear reason why Chris Wilkes chose to sign a contract with the New York Knicks, and he sees what the Knicks have been able to do with Alonzo Trier and even reviving the careers of Noah Vonleh and Emmanuel Mudiay. I'm not saying that these issues will magically be fixed by David Fizdale, but if anyone could help solve those issues, it would be him. Chris Wilkes is only 20 years old still, so even though he stayed in college for 2 years, it's not like he's crazy old or anything. I don't want to give any excuses for the lack of effort or sufficient play, so understand that is not what I'm going to try and do here up next. Rather, I'm going to explain the situation Wilkes was playing in at UCLA. So at UCLA, Wilkes came off a pretty successful rookie year where he came out scoring about 14 points on much better percentages from 3 and from the field. But halfway through his sophomore season, the coach who recruited him to go from North Carolina all the way to California, Steve Alford, was fired. This couldn't have sat well with him, and on top of this, UCLA was pretty bad already, so there is a possibility his mindset could have shifted from this decision. He did have some of his most high-scoring games after his coach was fired, but he also did have a few of his worst games as well. It's safe to assume that this firing affected him, but the real question was, by how much? ESPN and NBA.com both see Chris Wilkes as a potential 3-and-D player, but if he can pull everything together relatively quickly, which I believe he can be much more than just a 3-and-D player. I realize I went deep into Chris Wilkes and do think he has a lot of potential many people overlooked in the draft, but one other secret/mystery player that I wanted to talk about, Ognjen Jaramaz. I'm just gonna call him Jaramaz. This was Phil Jackson's last draft pick before being fired, but Jaramaz is currently a player the Knicks have the right to who is overseas. Jaramaz is a 6'3" point guard who the Knicks have stored hoping he develops. Jaramaz had a rib injury during the Summer League in 2017, which proceeded to affect his lung. Due to this injury, he was not able to play for the majority of 2018, but played towards the very end in about November-ish. He ended up playing 18 games that season where he only played 13 minutes per game and averaged 6 points along with 1 assist. These stats, especially for a 23-year-old point guard, are pretty underwhelming, but once he fully recovers, he will get better and hopefully make an impact on the Knicks roster. Honestly, it's so hard doing research on him because everything about him is either in Serbian or Spanish, and the Google Translate translations are just awful. So that's basically what's going on to him up to date. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, tell me if you've heard of any of these two players before, and also tell me if you think either of these two players have a chance at impacting the Knicks this season or the next. With that said, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like down below and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my videos. With that said, I'm out and peace!